have Wipro's numbers as well that are flashing for you on the screen. The revenue number looks more or less, in line with what we're working with. Very, very small misses what we're seeing on that front.
But it's the guidance. Guidance is a big miss. It's -3 to -1%.
Oh, so that's why they knew that's coming.
I think that's why they've done the buyback, because the buyback is a big one, right?
Yeah.
12,000 crore at a price of 445 rupees per share. If you compare that with the current market price, I think Wipro closed at 374 thereabout. We're talking about a pretty substantial increase in the stock price, 19% higher than where the stock closed. But Wipro's Q4 is a miss. Revenue is largely in line. Actually on the lower end, because constant currency revenue growth is at -0.6%. We were anticipating a decline of -2%. So a little bit of a decline on the top line, more than what the street was anticipating. Margins have come in lower. Margins at 15.7% have fallen by nearly 50 basis points on a quarter-on-quarter basis, lower than expectations. But it's the guidance, -3 to -1%, which means even at and this is not something that the street was anticipating. The street was anticipating a -1 to +1. So this guidance is a complete shocker. But I think part of the weakness could be offset by the buyback. Because it's a large buyback of 12,000 crore rupees. That's 4.9% of the paid up equity. It's done at a premium of 19% to where the stock closed at 445 rupees. So it could take some of the sting away from Wipro's numbers. But basically, Wipro Q4 is a miss. And, I think now it rounds up all the 5 IT companies, right? Large cap. And all of them have, disappointed. Infi was, of course, the big shocker.
Yes.
I think to that, you can add Wipro's next quarter's guidance. That's also a big shocker. I don't think Street was anticipating such a dismal guidance. Tech Mahindra's margins are significantly weaker. TCS comparatively then looks like the best boy, right? He delivered a 0.6% revenue growth, but at least there was a growth because Infi's revenues declined. Wipro's revenues have fallen by 0.6%. Tech Mahindra has grown, but Tech Mahindra's growth is lower than TCS. And HCL Tech was a decline. So 3 out of the 5 large cap IT companies, which are a part of the Nifty, have actually clocked in a revenue decline this quarter. So both Tech Mahindra and Wipro, just in case you've tuned in right now, let me quickly summarize Tech M and Wipro's numbers for you. For Tech Mahindra, it's a big miss on the margins. EBIT margins are at 9.6% compared to 12%. This is an account of an impairment charge, impairment of goodwill charge. If you strip that out, we're getting EBIT margins of 11.2%, and that's also lower compared to the 12% margins that they clocked in. So Tech Mahindra's problem this time has been the margins, and 2, the deal wins. The deal wins for Tech Mahindra have been in a band of 700 million to $1 billion. But this quarter, the deal wins have dropped to $582 million. So there are 2 misses for Tech Mahindra. One is on the margin performance, even stripped of the exceptional, and 2, the deal wins have fallen quite considerably. The street was anticipating that deal wins can't sustain when the macro is so tough, but it's quite disappointing. For Wipro, it's the Q1 FY24 guidance, which has come in much lower. They're expecting growth to contract. Even in the best case, they're saying growth is going to fall by -1%. Growth is going to decline by 1%, which is worse than what they've clocked in, because in the March quarter, the growth has fallen by 0.6%. And according to them, their best cases, growth falls by another 1% in the June quarter, and it could get as bad as a -3% number as well for the June quarter. So Wipro has missed the mark on margins, yes, but it's also the revenue performance and the guidance, which is very dismal this time. Part of the weakness can be taken away by the buyback announcement, but the street was anticipating a buyback announcement. But the buyback has come through, 12,000 crore of a buyback at a price of 445 rupees per share. So that's Wipro and Tech Mahindra for you. We have Omkar Tangsale back with us. Omkar, we spoke to you first about Tech Mahindra. What about Wipro? What have you made of that guidance?
To be very honest with you, I do not have the exact numbers with me right now.
Okay.
So it will be difficult for me to comment. Can you guide me about the numbers?
We can help you out, with the numbers that they have put up on the screen. The revenue growth has come in high by close to around 0.6% odd for the past quarter itself. The EBIT margins came in at around 16.3%. And the dollar revenue came in at around $2,820 million. So those are the broad numbers. You want to comment now?
Yeah, I mean, it is much in line with our expectation. I mean, Wipro, we expected some moderated growth in quarters, and I believe it's more of a inline expectations with the numbers that one can expect.
Okay.
You were anticipating guidance of -3 to -1%?
No, to be very honest, not on a guidance term, but it looks to be very, very skeptical around me. You know, all
What were
IT services companies.
Omkar,
What was
Omkar,
your
if you
own
can
guidance?
help us, what kind of a guidance were you anticipating? Because the guidance that they have given is a negative number, -3 to -1%. So what were you anticipating?
Yeah, I was expecting around 1 to 2% CC revenue growth in quarters, but it was really a negative number that just have came in.
Okay, so then that's a negative number, and also they're trying to do some kind of firefighting because they've announced a buyback of around 12,000 crores.
Yeah.
So that could protect the downside. You think so?
No, I don't believe that will going to protect, but I believe it's a thing that, you know, in terms of buyback, they all IT companies generally transfer the 80% of their cash flows to the investors. So maybe in meantime, but I believe the overall sector perspective has become negative, whether it is a case of the Infosys, HCL Tech, TechM for that matter, in terms of margin and now it's for Wipro. So it's looked to be very, very skeptical in terms of demand drive. I am not worried much about the supply side constraint that currently, you know, not getting the transfer on the margin side. That will happen because, you know, attrition rate has started coming down that we can see in the quarter as well. But I believe it's more skeptical, or you know, volatility has been seen on the revenue side, which will more skeptical. Right from the, you know, double-digit growth, they have just come out one single digit now. In Wipro have just given the negative guidance. That is I think quite a time of worry in terms of IT spend or delay in the spending decisions that coming from North American side.
Omkar, you know, people are wondering, globally, companies like Alphabet, Google, Meta are all reporting good numbers. I know it's not a like-to-like comparison, an apple-to-apple comparison, but can you explain, you know, for a layman, what is it that's working well for these global tech companies, but is not working? Because ultimately, they're all servicing the same enterprises, right? So if there is a technology spend cut, it should affect everyone. So what explains this big divergence that we're seeing?
Yeah, I believe it's more, firstly, they are product and we are, I mean, service companies as a whole. So the business model structure has been old. One can see, you know, the deal wins for this quarter for all blue chip as well as for mid-cap companies, they have stood strong. The only thing that is happening right now, according to me, is that because of the recent fall of the SVB, the regional banks from the North American region, and for the Credit Suisse acquired by UBS, that, you know, BFSI has started facing problem, and these services companies have larger exposure towards the BFSI, approximately 30-40% of the revenue side. And, you know, because of these uncertainties, the spending cuts or delays in the spending has been seen from the North American region. If you can see on a broader perspective, the European side stood strong for all the IT companies that have reported till now, right now. I have not seen TechM and Wipro for that matter on a vertical side, but it must be European side for all companies have reported strong. So one can see, you know, the delays in the decision for the automation spend has seen a keen laggard in terms of BFSI part. So that is more impacting on the demand side or the IT revenue side. I can say it to you.
Okay, so the big difference is they are more products and we're more services. And right now, Indian IT companies have faced the brunt of the tightening of the cash belt. Thank you very much, Omkar, for joining in with that.